Hey, what's up guys? While newbies and retail speculators panic sold the dip, Bitcoin whales on the other hand bought more Bitcoin. In this video I will explain how Bitcoin is eating the world, then we will take a look how fast we might see $50,000 BTC. Let's start with the coinmarketcap.com. We have a nice recovery for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin is back about $39,000 a coin, with a total market cap of around $723 billion. Also, we surpassed that $1 trillion of the total market cap of entire cryptocurrency space once again. Ethereum has a nice pump, is close to $1,200 a coin. Ripple XRP just continues being Ripple XRP. What else I can say here? Polkadot got into top 5 cryptos, it surpassed Litecoin and Cardano. It's up by 36% in the past 24 hours. I always thought that Litecoin will be the one that flipped XRP, but it looks like it could be Polkadot. Hey guys, I just launched an online shop. Now you can buy Bitcoin t-shirts and hoodies. Also you can buy Aimstone signature Bitcoin t-shirts and hoodies. The choice is yours. On limited time only, you can get 15% off of your first purchase. If you would like to support the channel and buy the merch, you can find the link in the description box below. Now, let's take a closer look at the Bitcoin market. Bitcoin is back, baby, but I'm not too sure if this is a good or bad thing. I wanted to see some more shakeout of these weak hands out of the Bitcoin market. As I mentioned yesterday, BTC formed this head and shoulders formation. Usually, this is a bearish indicator, but it looks like Bitcoin did not really give a shit about that signal and took off higher to the current price of more than $39,000 as of the time of this recording. I'm not going to be surprised if BTC will reach all-time high in the next few days. Speaking of the recent dip, unlike newbies and many retail speculators who start panic selling their positions, while whales on the other hand bought this 30% dip. As we can see from this chart, number of Bitcoin addresses with at least 1000 BTC in it just reached an all-time high with a massive accelerated spike during this Bitcoin pullback. Now there are more than 2400 Bitcoin addresses with at least 1000 BTC in it. If you still do not know what to do when Bitcoin pulls back, look what whales are doing and possibly do the same, and not panic selling and completely exiting from Bitcoin. It's a bit alarming that most of the mainstream medias and YouTube channels that usually do not cover crypto now are of the sudden talking about crypto. Also, if you take a look at the Bitcoin Google trend, it's a bit scary. As of today, we reached 81 points and we're just 19 points away where we were back in 2017 bull market top. However, geographic-wise, most of that surge comes from African countries such as Nigeria and South Africa. Australia and Canada are trading pretty high as well. United States is currently 34 points. Nonetheless, I think on aggregate, the Google Bitcoin trend surge might reach an all-time high in the next few days or weeks unless if we see some massive pullback. Fear and Greed Index right now is at 83. It is high, but is still a bit lower where it was back last week and last month. We will keep an eye on these market sentiment indicators. Not such a bullish news right now, as many of you already know that Christine Lagarde, the ECB snake, wants the global Bitcoin regulation. After she said that on her conference call that Bitcoin solicits funny business and money laundering.
First of all, I would observe that it is a speculative. It's a speculative asset by any account. I mean, when you look at the most recent developments upward and now the most recent downward trend, it's for those who had assumed that it might turn into a currency. Terribly sorry, but this is an asset, and it's a highly speculative asset, which has conducted some funny business and some interesting and totally reprehensible money laundering activity.
Bitcoin is an open ledger. Every single transaction is public and traceable. What funny business are you talking about? How about in 2016, Christine Lagarde has been convicted over her role in controversial 400 million euros payment to the businessman Bernard Tapie, who has been charged of defunding the state of more than 400 million euros. So technically, he took 400 million euros from the state, and meanwhile, Christine Lagarde covered his ass with the public 400 million money. If there is a funny business, this must be it. In the end of the day, if she wants Bitcoin regulation, then go ahead. But the question is, what are you going to regulate? The only thing you can regulate is crypto exchanges, but not Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin might be $700+ billion asset, but is still relatively small in the grand scheme of things. Gold is close to $11 trillion of market capitalization. Stocks close to $90 trillion of market cap. M2 money supply expansion is near $100 trillion. Global debt $253 trillion. Real estate $281 trillion. That is massive. Yes, we can see that Bitcoin is better than gold, but if Bitcoin takes over gold, it does not mean that gold will go to $0. Let's assume that Bitcoin might take over 10% of those markets. If Bitcoin takes 10% of gold, the single BTC will be over $50,000. If Bitcoin takes 10% of the stock market, that would put a Bitcoin market cap of around $9 trillion. Therefore, a single coin would be around $450,000. Okay, not bad. If Bitcoin takes 10% of the M2 money supply, then the single BTC would be around $500,000 a coin. But if Bitcoin takes 10% of the global debt, that would put a Bitcoin market cap at around $25 trillion. And that would put a single BTC at around 1.25 million bucks. Let's also not forget that around half of the global debt is negative yielding, which means you have to pay an interest to hold the bond, and that is not okay. If BTC would take 10% of the $280 trillion real estate market, that would put a single Bitcoin at around $1.4 million. Over the long run, the sky is the limit. Now, let's take a look at this video where I will poll interview Mike Novogratz, where they discuss the biggest Bitcoin catalyst in 2020 that Mike Novogratz explains $50,000 BTC. Let's take a look.
Typical of a macro guy, you're early to everything, right? That's the sign of a good macro guy. You're always early because you're looking ahead. And you started Galaxy because you thought institutions were coming, and you've been on the tape saying you were wrong, you were early.
Yep.
Here you go. It's now happening like at a ludicrous pace.
Hooray! Now the problem is it's happening so fast, you can't take advantage of it as much as you want to because you can't hire the right people fast enough and you've got competition. It's all fun. We're going to look back and 5 years from now, we're going to say, 2020, as horrible as Corona was, and, lots of people have lost their lives or you've been stuck in that same bar every time I've seen you for 6 months. I'm shocked you're not hammered, drunk all the time. I noticed there's no booze left.
I've drunk it all now.
But we're going to look back, and in some weird way, this is going to have been a blessing for the cryptocurrency revolution, for the community. It has accelerated adoption in two separate ways. One is the policy response globally, certainly in the US, crafted a perfect macro story for Bitcoin. There could not be a better macro story. We couldn't, me and you as macro, couldn't write one better than owning Bitcoin as a hard asset right now. But it also wildly accelerated the digitalization of everything. And this digitalization of everything, which from, Zoom, Zoom is part of our life now. We're doing a podcast.
You and I would sit in our office in Manhattan and do an interview, and now we can spin up an interview in 10 minutes on Zoom.
Yeah, and great quality. And so, but that also hit the blockchain space, stable coins, central bank issued digital currencies, the growth of the Ethereum network, all of that being accelerated. And so we see institutions coming in, mostly the Bitcoin to start with, right? It's the safer asset. So today you have an insurance company. Let me talk about how important this is. An insurance company with the sacred money they have on their general account, right? Which backs up the shit they're insuring, which needs Fed approval and insurance commission approval to put anything in that portfolio, just bought $100 million. And I would tell you, they're not the only one. And so people say, well, that's a small amount of their assets. Who cares? Because once you start, you don't stop.
Yeah, it's all well and good for Paul Jones to buy Bitcoin, right? The hedge fund community.
Yeah.
When insurance companies who have 40 trillion of balance sheets do.
I think this could be the most important. I keep thinking, what are the stories of 2020? Michael Saylor was a big story because he took $400 million of a corporate balance sheet and put it in. And now it's, he's got $1 billion dollars. That was a big story. Paul Jones was a big story. I actually think this is a bigger story. And it's not getting the the price action right away because, we're at the end of the year and there's this worry of Fed regulation or SEC, Fed, Treasury, that little group putting out this letter on non-custodial wallets. And so I think at least the professionals in the market are nervous that you could see a dip before it goes higher again. But if we step back and think about how important this is, if an insurance company can do this and be public about it, there's not an institution in the world that has to feel ashamed about buying Bitcoin. And they are all, and I can tell you from our bank, every bank, we're dealing with banks that we never dealt with before. How do we get involved? And they're not all going to get involved the same way. Some it's through their wealth management channel because their customers are calling them saying, why can't I buy Bitcoin with you guys? You're my freaking banker. If it's Goldman Sachs or UBS or Morgan Stanley or whoever. And so you're going to see wealth management changes. You're going to see the ability to trade in custody because as stable coins grow and you've got a dollar stable coin and a euro stable coin, and now you're going to Europe or you decide you like Europe, you want to sell your dollar stable coins for euro stable coins. That's an FX trade. Well, are you literally going to be Deutsche Bank running an FX desk and say, yeah, we're going to do most of the FX, but we're not going to do the stablecoin FX? No chance. And so stable coins are going to bring in the trading desks at banks into this business faster than you can think. And that architecture is the same architecture that's going to be needed to trade Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all the other cryptos. And so you're going to see this convergence, right? The bank account is going to become a wallet, period. And it's why, PayPal would, I'm ranking, I'm like, almost like, geez, who are my rookies of the year? Is it PayPal, Michael Saylor, Mass Financial or whatever, the insurance company, Paul Jones, they're all vying for it, but all wildly important, all coming from different parts of the institutional community. And so like the herd is here. The first time in my life I became a hodler, partly because I'm so busy, but partly because I'm so much more convicted that this isn't 2017, where I kept telling everyone this was a speculative mania, that this is the start of a multi-year, 100% giant transformative rally. And it's easy for me to see Bitcoin being at 50,000 next year, right? That's 10% of gold. I think gold's going higher. And I know once we get to 10% of gold, we're like, why is it only 10% of gold? Why isn't it 25% of gold? And then it's going to eclipse gold at one point. That's not going to happen in a year. Guarantee it's not going to happen in a year. But these things happen faster when you're getting these kind of network effects.
2020 without a doubt was a very good year for Bitcoin. Bitcoin gained around 300%. I think 2021 will be even better year. Mike Novogratz believes Bitcoin soon will be at $50,000 and takes 10% of the gold's market. If BTC will continue with this momentum, we might see BTC at $50,000 in the next month or two. Let me know what do you guys think. When will Bitcoin hit $50,000? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash that like button and subscribe for more videos.